So should workers be forced to join a labor union or pay union dues in order to work? The House Employment, Labor and Pensions Subcommittee holding a hearing earlier today on what's known as the right to work. Joining us now to discuss, we have Mark Mix, president of the National Right to Work Legal Defense Foundation. Mark Mix, thank you so much for joining us.
Steve, pleasure to be on with you. This is an exciting day for us here at Right to Work.
Well, yeah, we're curious to get your thoughts. Obviously, today there was the hearing there, the Employment, Labor and Pensions Subcommittee holding this hearing called Safeguarding Workers' Rights and Liberties. What are you expecting to result from this meeting?
Well, you know, things in Washington are a little gridlocked right now. If you're not part of the executive branch, you're probably not getting a whole lot done. But the fact is, Steve, this bill, a one-page bill that doesn't add a single word to federal law, is something that should have been debated a long time ago. This addresses the issue of compulsory forced unionism written into the federal statutes way back in the 1930s. And this is the first time we've had a hearing specifically on this unique union power where they're able to force a worker to pay dues or fees in order to get or keep a job.
Now, the subcommittee chair there, Congressman Bob Good of Virginia, said this, forcing workers to pay union dues is wrong. We'll continue to combat Biden's big labor bias by curbing federal mandates, ending forced unionism, safeguarding economic liberty, and respecting the will of the people. What is your response to the congressman's statement?
Yeah, he's spot on, and that's exactly what the bill will do, again, by not adding a single word to federal law, simply reducing that Depression-era language that allowed union officials this privilege. And so, you know, with that individual freedom, with that individual choice comes economic opportunity. There's no question that the right to work states in America today are leading the nation in new manufacturing job growth, private sector job growth, disposable income for workers in those states that have free choice when it relates to unionization. So he's spot on in his analysis, and today we got the word out about that, about the impact of individual liberty and freedom in America's workplace.
If you could just sort of simplify it for us, Mark, what is a right-to-work state?
Yes, Steve, it is really simple. We believe that every worker should have the right to join and associate with the union if they choose to do so. But the law currently in 27 states, it'll be 26 probably at the beginning of next year as Michigan has repealed their right to work law. It is that simple. It says you have the right to join, associate, participate in a union any way you want to, but it will not contemplate the notion that you'd be fired from your job. You would lose your livelihood if you didn't pay dues or fees to a private organization for the right to work.
Mark, lastly, the congressman did cite 75% of Americans agree that workers should be able to decide whether to join or leave a labor union. He says in 24 states, as you mentioned, employees must pay union dues or be fired. What are you doing at the state level to work with lawmakers to change those laws to reflect what Americans want?
Yeah, we have a very robust state legislative program as well. You know, obviously with things the way they are in Washington, D.C., the Congress gave the states the right to outlaw the union shop back in 1947 under the Taft-Hartley Act. And so we have been working in state after state. We passed 5 new right-to-work laws in the last 12 years to continue that momentum. But ultimately, the problem is created right here in Washington, D.C. with federal labor policy. And so it's a dual track. We'll continue to work at the state level, but we obviously have to change the federal law because it's the federal law that imposes forced unionism on those 24 states that don't have right-to-work laws.
Mark Mix, we'll let you get back to work. Thank you.
We'll do it. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate the opportunity.